Hello, everyone on YouTube. Give me 1 second here. One second. Everyone, come on in. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Oops. We'll be starting shortly. Everyone, come on in. One second, guys. All right. I'm getting my other audience set up. Hey, guys. Turn this around to me. Hey. All right, guys. We're trying to get all of the devices here. We're going to get it together. I promise you guys. We're going to get it together. All right. So I'm going to turn this on so you can see me a little bit better. And I think I'm going to scoot it over just a little bit. Oops. A lot going on here, isn't it? Okay. Now. Oops. Getting stable here. All right, guys. Come on in. Oops. Let's scoot over a little bit. All right. Come on in. Come on in. I'm going to do some teaching today. So welcome. All right, guys, you've been so patient over here. So I am talking to, one more time. We've got two communities on, and we're trying to getting our third one on here. All right. Okay. So I'm going to scoot you guys over. Move my notes, because you guys know me. If you know me, you know I have notes. Hey, guys, come on in. Come on in. We're talking about how to avoid the student loan debt crisis. That's right. That's what we're talking about here. How to. He survived. Hey. All right. Okay, guys. One more second. I've got it. So I've got two audiences in here, and I've got to get one more. So I've got one more group joining us. So I've got my Twitter/Periscope family here. I've got my YouTube family here. You guys have been very, very patient. And then I'm going to bring in our last audience, and then I'm going to get started. So you still have time to join. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Technology, guys. Technology. It's good and not good sometimes, right? Okay. So I think we are officially live on all three communities. I'm excited about this. I'm excited. Hey, guys. Hey. Oops. Wait a second. My two communities over here. We're coming. I promise. We're coming. All right. Almost done, guys. Almost done. I know it's been a few minutes, but thank you for your patience. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. We're almost there. We're almost ready to get started. decision. You want to go to this particular school, maybe because your family went there. Maybe it's been your dream for years. I was like that a little bit. I was so bent on going to Michigan State for their journalism program. I mean, that was like my childhood dream. Of course, I didn't do that. If you know me, I went to Kent State, ended up pursuing biology, right? I went totally left field. But it's so funny. I believe that nothing in our life is wasted. And so I just thank God that I'm actually writing. I do a lot of writing. And I also get to take my research and analytical skills from undergrad years, and I get to use that in my business. So I am excited about that as well. So anyway, what is the impact of this crisis? So here's the thing. When you're looking at a college, whether you're in college right now and you currently have loans, regardless of your situation, you will always pay back more than what you borrowed. That's the first thing. That's called interest. That's how loans work in general. Whether you have a mortgage, whether you have a car loan, you will always pay back more than what you borrowed. So you're always going to pay back more. And here's the thing, guys, that's whether you graduated or not, right? That's whether you finished your college degree or not. You took that loan out, you signed that promissory note. That means that you promise, hey, thanks for the hearts, Angela. You promise to pay that back. And you agreed to the terms and conditions of the loan. Hey, you agreed to that. So that's number one, is you're getting ready to pay back more. Now, here's the thing, and we're going to get into this a little bit. Um, the idea is that your education and the degree that you have and the experience that you were able to obtain while you were in college should help you to get into a position where that's affordable for you. But see, that's not the case for millions of Americans. That's not the case. The case is that you have people that are struggling, people that have lost their homes, they've been evicted, because they had to make the decision of whether I pay mortgage or do I pay Sally Mae or do I pay Navient or if I pay a private loan that I have. You know, people are deciding, do I buy food today or do I pay my student loans? It's that serious. I mean, it's to the point where people are delaying marriage, they're delaying having children because they're like, can I handle all of these costs on me? Can I handle this? But here's the thing, that's not the time to think about it. And you know, I say this to my students: if you are inside of my program, Scholarship Success School, you know we talk about this all the time. Is that is the wrong time to think about it, right? That is the wrong time to think about it. We have to stop being reactive. Yes, we have to stop being reactive. We need to be proactive. We should not wait until crisis comes to then panic and get a plan in place or to worry about it. I'll give you another example. I can't tell you how many times, Angela, you're on here, you know this. You know I'm not exaggerating. I can't tell you how many phone calls, emails, messages I get where the student is already on campus and they don't have their money together. They are already moved in, like have a dorm with a roommate, and they still have a balance. And they're basically being told, if you don't cover this, you're out. They're on campus, moved in. Did everybody hear that? It's not like they're driving to campus with a moving truck. They're already there. Like they already have a schedule and everything. Hey, thanks for joining. Thank you for joining GSC Scholarships. Great to see you. We're talking about the student loan debt crisis, and shout out to you guys for the work that you do in this area as well. And so that's the thing, is we're so reactive. I don't know who started that trend. I don't know where it came from, but we have to stop it, right? We have to be proactive. This conversation should be happening before you sign the dotted line of that promissory note or before you sign the dotted line of your college application that you accept the acceptance into that particular college. That's when you have this conversation. Because, and I can tell you, I had a client, that situation came up where they weren't prepared. He wasn't really doing the work. And, you know, hey, parents had to come out of a lot of money. And I'm talking about a lot, like several cars, right? So, and that was all because they reacted. They're like, oh, the letter's here. Now it's serious. No, no, no. It was serious before you went to campus. That's when it was serious. But see, we're not taking this serious. A lot of us aren't taking this serious. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Here's another thing. Here's another thing is if you want a particular job, if you ever want to buy a car, and I know you want to buy a car one day, if you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you want to make any type of investment that requires your finances. which is basically anything, right? Um, if you're in the midst of this student loan debt crisis, you're going to have a hard time with that. I know certain jobs that won't hire you because of your credit score, which of course is impacted by student loan debt. Um, Again, it's going to be very difficult to obtain certain material things, your house, your car, so forth and so on. So it is a serious issue. It's a serious issue. And that's why we have to take the time to have these conversations and not only have the conversation, but discuss the solutions, right? I'm all about, I'm all about having the conversation that's going to produce solutions that we can actually use. Because we hear this all the time, right? How many times do you see the stories on the news, right? So and so, struggling. We got a GoFundMe going. You guys, I have to do another the let training on GoFundMe's one day. I'm not a fan of GoFundMe. But, we've got all of this going on. Help us, help us, help us. No, when were you helping yourself? When were you doing the work that it required up front? When did that take place? When did it become the collective responsibility of other people to take care of you because you were reactive and not proactive? I know it sounds tough, sounds maybe a little harsh, but that's the reality. We need a wake up. That's why we're at $1.5 trillion debt now with student loans. This is what led us here. As people says, "Oh, I want to go to my dream school. I don't care what it costs because I want to go here. I don't care. I'm not thinking about the consequences." But then when the consequences come, oh, I need to go fund me. Oh, I need a fundraiser. Oh, I need to sell hot dogs and all this stuff. What we should have been doing that up front. We should have been doing that up front. It's real. It's real. And people don't may not want to hear it, but it is the truth. This is the consequences of student loan debt. We're just signing these promissory notes year after year, semester after semester, without even a thought, some of us, not even thinking. But here's the thing, I want to take this back a little bit because how did we get here? That's important because we have to understand how we got to this point. That way we can understand how to avoid this, right? So here's the thing. How did we get to this? When you were looking at colleges, whether you knew it or not, you were shopping because college, it's a price. You're the customer. You were shopping around. But here's the thing, and only you can ask yourself this. And if you're listening, this is what you need to be doing now to avoid this, is looking at what is the cost. This is getting into some of my later material, but I want to set this up right. What is the cost to go to this school? What is the total cost? Do I have to move out of state because that's extra expenses, right? Do I am I required to cover my own health insurance? That's an extra expense. Depending if you're an adult student, if you don't, and you may not have parents that you can get on their health insurance, right? That's an issue. The particular college, does it offer everything that I need out of it? What is my ROI? What is my return of investment? Because this is an investment, guys. A college degree is an investment. You're supposed to get something out of it. And let me tell you this, it's supposed to be more than your diploma. Hello. It's supposed to be more than your diploma. You're supposed to get more out of college than walking across that stage. That's the end result. That is a part of the journey. That's a piece of it. But you should be walking off that campus with potential jobs, with connections to employers in your field, or at least something to get you started. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to leave with. Having the right relationships built on campus and off campus. You should have been attending career fairs. Those that haven't gone yet, listen to this. This is how you're going to avoid this. Because here's the problem. Let's say you major, and it doesn't even matter. I know we harp on, oh, if you majored in English, that's not going to pay you. But it doesn't even matter nowadays. You could be, in my case, I was a STEM major, right? I was a biology major at Kent State. I had colleagues that graduated from Kent State with a biology degree drowning in that debt. So it's not even about the major. It's about what are you doing? That's why when you go into selecting a college, the mindset has to be, I want to get into the right college at the right price. But in order to do that, am I doing what I need to do up front? Am I considering the end results while I'm planning for this. It's not just about I'm getting into college. That's the first step. Expense that at the day when I graduate, I get a return on my investment. And I can say for me, I got a return on my investment. Went to Kent State, was a biology major, but I wasn't only a biology major. I was busy networking. I was getting research experience. I was connecting. When I walked out, of course, some of you may know my story. I went overseas for a while. Everything was kind of, I was settled. I went overseas for a while, lived over there, did what I wanted to do, came back, went to school again for grad school, but I was working. I was working, and I began to put those connections together. I thank God, that it came together like it did, and I was able to work in corporate America in the position that I did for almost 8 years. That's what I wanted to do until I left. So I got a return on my investment. So I'm asking you that question too: are you getting a return? If you're already in college, you already have some debt. Are you getting a return on your investment? Are you at the right college at the right price for you? Here's the thing. We always, hey, Harvard looks amazing, MIT, Penn State, those are wonderful schools. But there are also some wonderful community colleges if you need to go there. You may need to start there and then and transfer 2 years worth of credits over to maybe a state college. But the problem is we're failing to look at the price tag. We're not looking at the price tag like we're supposed to. And it's causing issues for a lot of us. Guys, 1 second. I'm going to um, get my Twitter audience back in here. 1 second here. I'm going to get them back. 1 second while I'm talking. Okay. Hey, Twitter, I'm back. All right. So here's the thing. So for those who are just joining through Twitter, we're talking about how to avoid the student loan debt crisis. Hey, thanks for joining. Please share this out. I would appreciate it. Thank you for the hearts. Hey, guys, thank you. All right. So we've been talking about is the price tag. Are you looking at the price tag like you're supposed to? And if you're already in college, did you look at the price tag? Or did you go because it was popular or because your friend goes there? See, those are wrong reasons to pick a school. And for some of us, that's how we got into that student loan debt. That's how we got into that student loan debt. All right. So I think I've set it up enough. So here's the thing. This is what I want you to leave with this portion of what I'm talking about. And that is this, is that if you don't have a plan, listen to this. If you don't have a plan for cutting the cost of college, you're planning to pay more. In other words, if you're not planning to pay less for college, you're planning to pay more for college. That is what you're doing, whether you understand it, whether you recognize it or not. If you're not planning to pay less, then you have to be planning to pay more. And I don't want that for you. I don't think you want that. And so now we're going to dig into these 6 steps. They're real simple. I'm a strategist by trade, I guess you could say. By nature, that's what I love to do. That's what I do with my students inside of Scholars for Success School. And so I'm going to now go into these simple steps, give you some simple things to do. But here, before I get into this, first of all, this is a fluff-free zone. I don't have anything fluffy for you. I have nothing to get you excited and make you feel whatever. This is a crisis. And so when you're in a crisis or when you're trying to avoid a crisis, you have to take action. You have to take action. Oh my goodness. Let me talk about that for a second. I was going to get into these simple steps, but I have to talk about this. You have to take action. There are too many people that are not taking action. You're waiting on someone to call you with scholarships. Maybe you're waiting on me. If you guys didn't hear my snacks versus meals conversation, that's another day. I have to go over that. But maybe you're waiting on me. Maybe you're waiting on the Shally app. Maybe you're waiting on your parents. You're waiting on an advisor. You're waiting on somebody else. But see, when you wait on other people, you're putting your destiny in their hands. You're putting the whatever the outcome is going to be, you're putting your fate into the hands of someone else. Why not take back your power and be responsible yourself, right? Why not do what you need to do? And here's the thing, if you're watching, you're like, Ashley, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Hey, I'm glad you came on here. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to tell you what to do. But here's the thing. I've got this formula in case you've never heard me speak or train before. Information plus implementation equals transformation. Remember that. Information plus implementation equals transformation. Transformation meaning the change that you want to see. Transform means to change, right? So if you want the change that you want, which in this case is paying less for college, yes. Thank you, Angela. If you want to pay less for college, and that's the change that you want from your current situation, or maybe you have a degree, you don't want to go into further debt, right? Then you need the right information, which is what you're here for. So shout out to you, shout out to you, shout out to you for coming here. Now we're getting ready to go over action. That's what implementation is. Implement is to take action on something. You're getting ready to take action on something. Hey guys, thanks for joining. I'm not ignoring you, Twitter. Thanks for joining. Um, so you got to take the right action, right? Are you taking action? Let me tell you something. Those that are in that $1 trillion club, I'm going to call it the $1 trillion club, that student loan debt crisis club. A lot of them didn't take the action. If we can be real frank, they did not take the action that they needed to take. They kept resorting on loans. They kept saying, I don't have time to search for scholarships. I don't have time to put together my strategy. I don't have time for that. I'm busy. Are you too busy to avoid going into debt? Are you too busy to avoid the $1 trillion club? I mean, only you can answer that. I'm just posing the question. But it's either you invest this time up front or you will be a part of that club. I'm telling you. If care is not taken and you don't do what you need to do and you don't handle your business, you'll be a member of the club. And that's a club that you don't want to be a part of. And that club, they're garnishing wages. Let me tell you something. I saw this in the news, and I try to stay away from the politics and everything because it's some political aspects to this. But there were senior citizens, and I forget what state it was. It's the U.S. For those that are listening that are abroad, it's in the U.S. But they were saying that they were potentially taking. Hey, thanks for joining Advantage College. Good to see you. Um, we're talking about avoiding the student loan debt crisis. So shout out to you for all that you're doing to help students get out of that or avoid that, should I say? But in some states, I know that it was on the table legislation. You know what, Angela? I didn't take enough action. Let me tell you that. If I had listened to everything I was telling you guys, I wouldn't have any. But I digress. We're gonna work on that T-shirt though. I like it. um, But here's the thing. In some states, it was saying, the elderly, they get their Social Security checks, and all that to live off of. It was saying that some states were considering legislation that if you are elderly and receiving a Social Security check, if you've got student loan debt, or if you took out a student loan for your child and they have yet to pay it back, that they can dig into and cut into your Social Security check. That is serious, y'all. That is some serious stuff. Okay, messing with somebody's Social Security check, and that's their livelihood. That's what they live off of. That's how they pay their bills. I mean, this is serious. So if you're just wondering if I'm just being dramatic or I'm just making up stuff, oh no, that is the seriousness of this situation here. So this is why I'm having this conversation with you guys. But anyway, action. We were talking about action. Okay. So we have to take action, you guys. Even everything that I'm teaching you inside of here, and we're getting there. Everything that I'm getting ready to go through these 6 steps plus a bonus one. Is you have to act on it. This information is useless if you just sit here and listen and enjoy the content. Action. Here's the thing that people struggle with, and maybe your watch struggle. Don't We are here. All right. So I was getting ready to talk about these 6 steps. So hey guys, if you're still hanging on Instagram, thank you. I don't know what's going on. I call it resistance, but we're gonna fight through it. We're gonna fight through it. All right. So let's get started. Number 1 is we need to talk about your gap. Let me put this in here. Let me try to be a little bit interactive. We need to talk about your gap. Your gap, your gap, your gap is very, very important. Very, very important. It's talking about the gap. What do I mean when I say gap? Okay, we might be frozen up here too. Okay, guys, hold for me. Okay, I think we're good here. I think we're may not be so good up here. But don't worry, we're going to, you can go back and watch the replay. All right, so we're going to talk about your gap. What is your gap? What what do I mean when I say gap? Gap is the amount that you need, right? It's the balance. So let's say, oh my goodness, let's say that you are counting on, because right, you may not have it confirmed. Let's say that you're counting on financial aid, and let's say that financial aid is going to put in, let's say, 30% of the cost for your education, and let's say that okay, YouTube, you're still there with me. You're still there with me, and I appreciate that. Um, okay, YouTube, hold. Okay, we're still there. All right. Okay. All right. Let me come back in. Let's see. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on, but it's all good. It is all the way good. We're gonna get through this. We're talking about avoiding the student loan debt crisis. So we're going live everywhere again. YouTube, thank you for holding on. Hey, Mitchell North 3, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. All right. So I'm just going to keep talking. Hey, Angela, you already know what's going on, but it is all good. It's all good. I was getting ready to share. I'll just keep talking. I was getting ready to share 6 steps. So we've talked about, I can do this while I'm talking. We've talked about kind of the problem. We've talked about how we got into the problem, whether we acknowledge it or not. Hey, Mental North 3, thanks for hopping on. Good to see you. So we talked about the problem. We talked about how did we get into this student loan debt crisis situation. And I can tell you that it was some decision making that we could have avoided and probably made a better choice. Not probably. I know we could have. So now, thanks for the hearts. Now I'm going to get into my steps. And I was, just before I got off, I was saying that you have to take action. It's not good. It's not any good by itself, right? It's not any good. Let's pin that. Okay. It's not any good by itself. You have to take action. So I'm going to give you the steps. I'm going to tell you what to do. Let's see here. I'm going to tell you how gap. You have to know your gap. If you ever travel to Europe, oh my goodness, I had a great time there. Great time. Anyway, if you ever go to Europe, there's the train stations, right? And and you'll hear something come on the intercom in the train station. They say, mind the gap, mind the gap. They're talking about the space in between you, where the ledge is, and the track, right? Because you don't want to go over into the track. Um, that's not good. So same thing is I want you to mind the gap, your gap. What is the gap? The gap is it's the space in between what you already have for college in terms of money and what you need. It's that gap, it's that space right there. So if financial aid is going to cover 30%, let's say that you've got some money saved up and you're going to cover 50%, that's only 80%, right? You still have a 20% gap. You have to know what your gap is. If you don't know what your gap is, and it's hard, then it will be hard for you to set goals and to create a plan. If you don't know what you're striving towards, right? It's hard to put a plan in place when you don't know. So number one is I want you to mind your gap. Mind your gap. And so how can you do this? Fortunately, the internet is wonderful, right? Internet is wonderful. And you can actually go and look this up. So, what you can do is if you're not in college yet, I want you to go to the financial aid website. Hey, Twitter, let me get you in there. Hey, guys. Is you can go into your financial aid, and I want you to go to the financial aid section, look at what the cost is, and I want you to get the total cost, not just tuition. I'm talking about room and board. I'm talking about if you have to move, if you're going to college out of state, whatever the costs are. I need you to calculate all of that, all of that. And then you have to have a conversation with whoever's helping you pay for this, right? If it's mom and dad, if it's maybe you're married and you're an adult student, maybe you're international and you're going to be applying as a part of a huge grant program or a government program to study abroad, whatever it is. I want you to do your research. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Hey, oh, hey, Angela. It might be better over there. But I want you guys to mind your gap. Mind your gap. That's number one. And take advantage of the resources that are available to you, to you, to you, to you. All right. Number two is I want you to create your plan. We're jumping right into creating the plan, right? And so what do I mean by that? Let me move this up a little bit. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, okay, 1 second. I was configured and then, okay, we're good. All right, so number two, we did number one, mind your gap. Number two is how we're going to actually get into creating your college funding strategy. So, what exactly does that mean? What that means, is that you need to determine, and this is of course based on your gap, right? It's based on your gap. You need to determine how are you, not we, how are you, hey, Angela, how are you going to cover this gap that you have? How are you going to cover the gap? That has to be the next plan. And so here's the thing, fix, because I don't know you personally. I would need to talk to you inside of a session or inside a Scholarship Success School for that matter. But let me give you some examples. That may include that you have a side hustle, and so you're going to get 2,000 from that you're going to save. Maybe that you're going to, this should be a part of it. Is that you're going to apply for scholarships, so many scholarships at a particular time. You're going to have a particular goal, for a month, 2 months, what have you. Also, you want to look into any type of grant or government funding type programs. So you want to look into that. Basically, your college funding strategy is whatever that includes: financial aid, working, money from friends, from family, whatever you're going to use to. Sorry, guys, one second. Whatever you're going to use to pay for college. That is exactly what we're talking about, right? That's what we're talking about. So that is number 2. All right, number 3 is you have to get organized. You have to. My clients who was basically, well, she was paid to go to college. She worked with me and did not have to pay anything to go to college. And I told her, I said, you have to get a wall calendar. That's what worked for me. And talking with her, I said, okay, I think this is what's going to work best for you. And I said, put it somewhere that you have to see it all the time. Now, a lot of people tell me, well, Ashley, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. Oh my goodness. I hear that. You have to make the time. Like I said in the beginning, you're planning on paying more. The deal. You have time. You have to make the time. Willing to make the time, then you are put $1 trillion. Angela, get that t-shirt ready, girl. Joining the club. So you have to decide what you want to do. All right, so that was number 3. Okay, so let me give you some tips on scheduling. Excuse me. Let me give you some tips on scheduling. It needs to work for you. It needs to be consistent. And even if that's once a week, even if that's once a month, I don't advise once a month. Weekly works for me. I mean, literally, there's like 5 scholarships due today. So it's really up to you. But here's the thing. You need to work on this until you don't have a gap, right? That is how long you need to be working on getting these grants, these scholarships, paid internships, employment, side hustle, whatever you're using collectively to pay for college. You need to implement that plan and stay consistent until you no longer have a gap. That is how you know that you have finished your job. All right, and here's the cool part. Just in case you didn't know, you can apply for scholarships and win scholarships even after you've started college. So don't worry if you didn't get everything beforehand, before you went to college, but you can certainly win scholarships after college. I mean, after you started college. Sorry. All right, that was number 3. All right, number 4. All right, so in case you didn't know, I don't have a TV in my office area and in my room. But anyway, I heard about the U.S. Open. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was working, but I heard about the U.S. Open, and I know that Serena Williams, the infamous tennis player, she beat her sister Venus Williams, and excuse me. And so I thought about Serena, and she's been playing since childhood, right? Since her childhood days. And she has created her profile, her statistics are, they're amazing. That's why she is who she is. And if you go to the National Tennis Association, their website, and look her up because she's professional, you'll see all of her statistics, right? When she started, who her coach is, how tall she is, what she weighs, her nationality, so forth and so on. You'll learn everything about her. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to create a profile or a statistic, a stat sheet, or what I call in my world a scholarship resume. And I want you to list down everything about you. Everything. Even if you don't think it has any importance, write it down. It could come back later to be a great asset to you. But I want you to take an afternoon, take a couple hours, and I want you to write that down, create that profile. And I want you to do that because this is how you're going to secure your scholarships. This is the heart, or this is the essence of how you're going to avoid the $1 trillion club. That's how you're going to do it. Is you're going to focus on any funding opportunity, whether it's a scholarship, paid internship, side hustle, whatever it is, whatever the source of the funding is, it all has to tie back into you because you are you. No one else is you, and that is your secret power. Is that no one else? I don't care if you played soccer or hey, I don't care if you play tennis like Serena plays tennis. You guys are definitely not the same person. But leverage that. Take advantage of that. And I know I'm spilling into some of my other notes, but that's okay. Is take advantage of the fact that you're unique. You have your own experiences, your own approaches to things, your own mindset. Focus on you. Focus on you. I know you're doing. What if my son should be looking for scholarships? Yes, right now. He should be looking for scholarships right now because there are scholarships that are due. That is a great fit for him right now, solely based on his academic level. Talk less of all the other things. So, great question. Thank you for asking. Um, but yes, you should be looking for scholarships, even if you don't know the school you're going to. And let me explain why. Because you don't want to wait until he chooses his school, because every day that passes, let's say from now until the day he's accepted into a particular college, that scholarship money that's leaving the table, those are deadlines that are coming up due. And see, when you wait, you limit your options, right? You don't have as many options. But now you have a chance, or he has a chance, should I say, to amass money, to gather up college money and let it sit, and when it's time, they can send the check on to the school and make your job easier. All right. So we've talked about profiles. Okay. Talked about stat sheet, your resume. Talked about that. And just some advice for that. Now, I do this in depth with my students, but for you, for those that are watching everywhere else, um, is just simply take out a piece of paper, take out your phone, whatever you want to do, and just literally list it down. Literally, just write down or list out everything about you. That's what your profile is. All right, I want to talk about local scholarships for a second because too many people are overlooking scholarships. First of all, I was being interviewed the other day, and I can't wait to share that interview I think it's next week. I'm excited. But anyway, I was talking about how there are billions of dollars in scholarships that go unclaimed every year. And I'm like, that is crazy. That is crazy to me. And maybe it's because it's my line of work, it's what I do. But I'm like, really? Like, what is going on here? But it dawned on me that the reason why this happens is for a few reasons. And I told the hostess of the podcast, I said, number one, you don't know what you don't know, right? But here's the thing, that's not an excuse. I'm going to tell you why. You're welcome. Thanks for the hearts. You don't know what you don't know. So when you don't know what you don't know, you have to be connected to those that are in the know. So you have to think, who around me right now is in the know? Who in my local area would know about scholarships or how to get them or who gives them? Let me give you some examples. Your local places of worship, right? Whether you go to the synagogue, the mosque, the temple, a church, whatever it is, that's a great place. If you're in high school, they used to call them guidance counselors, but now they call them school counselors. Your school counselors, your academic advisors. If you are, 1 second, guys. If you are in college, academic advisors, um, your administrative secretary, of your major department, your financial aid department. Let me tell you about an office a lot of people don't go to, and that's your career services. Let me tell you why. Because you, and you won't know until you ask, you could be eligible for a paid internship. It doesn't matter. I specifically focus on scholarships, but we're talking about your college funding plan. If you have to work during college and that goes towards your tuition, it doesn't matter how you get the money for school. It just matters that you get it, right? It just matters that you get it. Hey guys, again, hey. Twitter people got reconnected. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right? Paid internship. Maybe you start a business. Maybe you're really savvy with the social media world and you want to create a website or So for those of you that are, you have some debt, or you're, heading into college in a few years, you're doing your doctorate, don't listen to this and say, "Oh, that's nice," but understand that this is serious. This crisis is serious, and if you're not preparing to keep your costs down, you're preparing to join the club. And I know that's a club you don't want. Hey, I think networking. You have to master networking in order to access your scholarships. Now, I'm not talking about go in front of a group and speak and give I'm not talking about that kind of networking. I'm talking about getting connected to people in your area. Start with where you are. So, for example, if you came to me and we were working together, and let's say that you were an engineering major, right? And say you were going to study engineering. What I would advise you to do is find out, where do the local engineers hang out after work? Because they're at work during the day, right? Or they're working for themselves as consultants, right? But after work, where do they hang out? Do they go? Is there a local association? Is there a local chapter? Hey, thanks for joining Higher Ed in Color. Good to see you. We're talking about avoiding the student loan debt crisis, by the way. So yeah, if you're an engineering major, you have to find out where the local professionals hang out. Do they go to a regional meeting? Are they members of another group? Are they very active in serving their community? Whatever they're doing, you need to find out what they're doing. You need to find out and get connected. Get plugged in. Let me tell you one of my secret weapons. LinkedIn. If you are not on LinkedIn right now, I don't care if you're 14, I don't care if you're 34 doing a master's or a bachelor's or a doctorate, it does not matter. You have to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, I'm telling you, and I've got over 8,000 colleagues on there right now. The conversations that happen behind the scenes, that's another, I've been making a list. That's another class all on its own that I have to do. I'm going to be doing inside of my Scholarship Success School. So I definitely encourage you to join us. You can go to bit.ly/scholarship success school, all lowercase, all one word. But I can't even tell you the conversations, the opportunities. I even got two this morning. I'm telling you, if you're not on LinkedIn and if you're not active, whether you're in groups or whatever you're doing, you are missing out. You are missing out on finding those scholarships. Seriously, you're missing out. All right, so talked about LinkedIn. It is important. It is important. It is important that you are connecting, and not just on LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is a great way to do that. But locally, like I said, if you're an engineering major, where are the local engineers hanging out? Do they have to have a certain certification or license to do what they do? Who licenses them? Who are those organizations? That's the kind of things you need to find out. Here's another way to find that out. Is odds are you live in the same town as a local college or university. And so if they have an engineering program, guess who's teaching probably in the engineering department? Guess who's teaching in there? Odds are an engineer, right? Odds are an engineer is teaching classes in the engineering department. Makes sense, right? So